Today's episode is brought to you by the HP 15.6-inch FHD laptop, offering the ideal blend of speed, storage, and portability, perfect for work, school, or life on the move.
Because everybody try to tell us all how to heal, because this is real. Drugs is killing our culture and our kids, and also mental illness.
That's right.
And so, like, a lot of people are going through that. You think just because you got money or you successful that your kids are immune to this. Like, nobody's immune from pain. None of us. Because my brother died at 19. I got another brother in prison. You know what I'm saying? And my grandparents, and they took us to church every day. You know, every Sunday. So you're not immune from pain, death, none of that. I just think that it's tough, man, for a family.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the world premiere Word on the Streets. Tonight, we open the door to a powerful conversation, Unspoken Wounds, how childhood trauma fuels today's mental health crisis. Get ready for a deeper understanding of the stories that shape us. Greetings, and welcome to the world premiere Word on the Streets. We're live every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't miss out. After a week full of noise, confusion, and constant distractions, this is the show that cuts through the clutter. It's the hour of the week, where real talk meets real truth. We bring conversations that challenge the status quo and stir something deeper in the soul. This isn't just commentary. It's clarity, purpose, and elevation. When you tune in, you're not just watching, you're waking up. A place where common sense still matters and lives. So, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, this is the world premiere Word on the Streets. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your hearts and hands together for the man who discovered his purpose and lives it loud, Larry Extraordinaire Moten, and the motivator born to ignite minds and shift atmospheres, the amazing Keith Fletcher, and the man who brings clarity to the chaos with the voice of reason you can't ignore, the one and only Mr. Vincent Craig. Make no mistake, there is no word without our host. Welcome to the movement, welcome to the message, welcome to the world premiere, Word on the
Street. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the world premiere, Word on the Street. Once again, friends. Friends, we're not going to prolong anything because this show is so deep today. So we're going to go kind of straight to it because we only got 1 hour, friends. But you know how we do it, friends. We have to let you know the panel that we have here on this platform. We have the one and only, the motivator himself. You all know him. He's on Facebook. He have his own YouTube channel. Y'all know this man, the amazing Mr. Keith Fletcher, everybody. And brothers and sisters, next we have the man with the smooth silk voice. But beyond the smooth silk voice, this man is serious. I'm talking about a serious brother. This brother can be any place else. But you know what he did, friends? He decided to set everything aside and be here with you tonight. I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Vincent Craig. And friends, I am extraordinary and I'm all in it for tonight, friends. I promise you, this show is deep and in depth. So if you're ready, pull up your chair and we're going to get right down with it and get right down to it. Welcome everybody to the world premiere Word on the Streets. And thank you all for tuning in. Brothers, so good to see you all. Fletcher, Vincent, my brothers from another mother. It's good to see y'all faces, man. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Just
Doing
glad
well.
to be here. Doing good, doing good. Ready to get this topic started. Ready to chop it up a
Yes,
few
sir.
rounds and see what the audience says, and let's take it on.
Yeah, all of that. I tell you what, Fletcher, for anyone, I'm gonna just back up for 1 second, Vincent and Fletcher. If anybody missed the last show, please go back and check it out. Vincent and I, we gave Fletcher the kind of love that he really deserved. But I said that because it tied in with the show. You see, because what Vincent and I gave, we didn't look for anything back in return. It was just an overwhelming of appreciation we was showing to our brothers. But this show we're talking about tonight, Unspoken Wounds. How many of us grew up in an environment where it's almost like a quid pro quo kind of thing? You do something and you receive love. But what if you did nothing at all? What what were you receiving? What were you getting? We're gonna chop all that up, friends. And I don't know, man, whichever one of y'all gonna kick things off, I'm all for it, man. Which one of y'all gonna just start this thing on?
I can go ahead and start, man. I just thank you, extraordinaire, for choosing this topic. I don't know how you went about choosing this one, but it's something that I kind of touched on partly. The last portion where it says childhood trauma fuels today's mental health crisis. We had our 35th class reunion, high school class reunion celebration this past weekend. We had festivities Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And at one of our friends' ranch on Saturday, we had two pastors, two ministers come up, to bless the food and kind of bless the whole evening. And then I asked if I could speak, and I said, it's. I really want us to. We have to take better care of ourselves. I said, and I'm not just talking about from like a health standpoint. I said from a mental standpoint. I said because a lot of us are suffering in silence. I said a lot of us. I said we as Black men or just men in general don't necessarily open up. Uh, we aren't as transparent. We carry a huge load. People ask us if we're okay. Oftentimes we're not, and we're saying, yeah, we're good. So I just kind of, when you sent this, I think on Monday, sent this to us along with the blog, I was just like, man, God's timing is just crucial, right? It's just, and I just said, we as individuals, I said we need to, look at people and ask them, how are you? And they'll say, no, how are you seriously? Like, really, how are you? Right? As I said, sometimes we gotta pry and get a little nosy and get a little deep, right?
That's right.
Because a lot of people are suffering in silence when it comes to this mental illness. Some of which, does stem from childhood trauma. And some events of life past that. You look at your war veterans, individual, PTSD. You got people coming out of abusive relationships. So I don't mean to, take up the whole stage, but we can get into it. But I'll let Keith chime in as well.
I listen to the blog and I try to connect with this one. I always been like when you sick you get help. When you sick you get help. I never been afraid to talk to my brothers or talk to people about my problems. You know, my grandma used to always tell me, "Boy, you ain't got no problems." Somebody wish they had your problems, so it made it easy with me to tell somebody my problem because I always felt I ain't had no problems. You know what I'm saying? Like I could talk to somebody about it. So, when I meet somebody and I start talking to them, they don't want to talk. I don't understand it. How they keep that inside, the shame or something. I'm saying for me, I know people do. I know people have these issues. When I was in the military with people that had trauma, but man, I wanted to talk about it. I couldn't keep that inside because it would eat me up. now I can't be the person that I want to be. So man, I don't. I'm gonna let y'all speak on this. I'll jump in on it, but man, me holding that because, like I said, I just say when I went to counseling, I was forced to go to counseling, a 36-week counseling, and that was the best thing for me. I'm forced to sit up there, and I was in there, and I was a whole bunch of men, and I went for domestic violence, and I didn't feel I belonged there. You know, you sitting there, quiet, man. What they want to talk, everybody talking. Now you got the guys, the season, they talking, they telling all their business. You looking at them like, man, they weak as hell. What's wrong with them? They putting out their business like that, talking about it. So you know they'll come and ask you to know because you're there. Hey, you got something to say? I'm good. I don't have nothing to say. I'm just trying to get through. But you're there 36 weeks. You know, that's a long time. Long time showing up, seeing the same people all the time. And
Yeah.
you couldn't say my old lady. You had to say her name, made her relevant. You know what I'm saying? So about that third week, fourth week, you want to talk because you hearing these guys opening up and saying these things. So you want to see because you think you don't have no problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's normal. You know, me and my wife argue. You know, I was taught that. You know, that's between man and wife. At the time, I thought nothing wrong with that. We figured out this is what we do. You know what I'm saying? Then you start realizing, yeah, I do have some problems, and I started talking it out. You know, but I'm telling. When I was married, I was trying to figure out our problems. I really should have been trying to figure out my problem. And that's what I gained from it. Just because I'm married, I can't figure out her problems. Especially if I'm like hurt people hurt people. So I had to figure out me so I couldn't hurt nobody else. Because I ain't no way you can figure out her problem and you hurting, both of y'all gonna hurt. So you know what I'm saying? You ain't no counsel. That's what I learned from that. That I had to wear my own weight. I had to fill my own cup up. You know what I'm saying? Before I go touch somebody else or try to figure out something for someone else.
See, this is why this topic, Fletcher, Vincent, this is why this topic is so timely and so important because so many of us we walk around with so much stuff in us, and we, and when you don't dig deep enough, you don't really understand what all is troubling you. For example, when you're married or when you're in a relationship or what have you. And for some of us, if someone expecting us to do something and the fact that you can't do it, uh, it that is not being able to do something that is expected of you to do. That create all sorts of emotions that need to really be dealt with and understood. But we don't as men. I never been a woman, so I don't know, ladies. I need y'all help on this. When you are expecting, when someone expects something of you, and you can't fulfill that expectation, how do you feel? See, it'll affect some of our feelings, and that is where these problems rises up in each individual. And some of that feeling that grow inside may have been something handed down to you, unresolved. Where did that come from, and how can I overcome it? All these questions, but it's still there. And those same kind of feeling that drives up, we may kick it to the curb and just sum it up, Vincent, and say that's life. But you keep kicking that thing to the curb, and that same thing that we call this life, you find yourself, later on having a breakdown, maybe, or something larger grow up, an emotional disorder grows up, depression grows up, because there are emotions that were not properly dealt with. Anybody want to put some meat on that bone?
Yeah, I go ahead and talk. I like what Keith said. I was kind of laughing because I thought about two things when he was talking about when he was going to that class for 36 weeks. I can vision two things. I thought about Hancock, with Will Smith when he first went into jail and he was there, right? And they were going around, hey, I'm such and such.
It was just like that.
Yeah, he was like, no, I had nothing to say, right? There's an old saying, if you go to the barbershop long enough, sooner or later, you're going to get a haircut, right? So I can imagine Keith going for 36 weeks and not saying any, like sitting there the first week, second week, trying to fill it out, in the third week, at some point in time, it's like, okay, do you feel obligated to talk, or do you just feel like, you know what, I've heard enough people be transparent. They're not the only one struggling with something. Let me go ahead and chime in too, right? I think about, I like to use examples. I like to use a stuffed drawer. We all kind of tendency to have a stuffed sock drawer or a stuffed t-shirt drawer, right? I look at it as, eventually I'm frustrating myself because I can't find my favorite pair of socks because I'm too lazy to unleash it, sort it out. I'm thinking about when individuals are stuffing and stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. It's like the sock drawer. You're looking for your socks, your favorite something, but you can't find it. And it's like all you gotta do is take the time and the effort to let it sort itself out or either do something about it. A lot of times, man, I like what you said, extraordinary. A lot of times this stuff is passed down and it's inherited based upon what we saw. I remember my current wife now, when we were going to premarital counseling, we had to set up rules of engagement, right? We had to talk about triggers, like what's the do nots and what's the like. But one thing that he told her, he's like, you have to understand. He's like, Vincent comes from a household where there was yelling and screaming. So for us, I laughed when Keith was talking to his wife or his ex-wife or what have you. That seemed to be the norm, right? It wasn't yelling and screaming to us. It was called passion. And it's like, no, like you going at each other's throats. And that was
Yeah.
normal, right? So you carry that into your marriage or into your dating life or into whatever, right? And it's like, people are going to do what you allow them to do until you meet someone that says, hey, I'm not going to tolerate that. It might just continue to keep going or continue to keep going. And it's like, it's a trained pattern. That's a behavior that an individual grew up with. That's what I grew up with. So he kind of had to let her know early on, but I also had to adjust and understand myself. And hey, this yelling and screaming, that's what got me divorced from my first wife, right? I know what it's like, Keith, to be kind of like that label. I've been labeled as abusive because it was an emotional abuse. A lot of people think about abuse, you got to put your hands on people and do this and that.
Right.
There's emotional abuse, and it's
Right.
just we don't want that label, man. Like once you get that label, it's just like, oh, I'm part of that. Now I'm part of that, right? So now you feel some type of way, you kind of feel a little dirty or whatever, and it's just like, oh, so I'm abusive because yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, own it, right?
Yeah.
So at that point,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because you're right. I don't mean to interrupt you, but you made a good strong point there. A lot of time we think abuse is it's just it ain't just physical, friends. Word on the street community. You could be abused in a whole lot of other ways without it just being physical. But go ahead on, my brother.
emotional abuse, verbal abuse. I'm not throwing my mom out under the bus at all, right? But again, single mom doing whatever she could to raise a young man like me. She had to wear the pants and the skirt, right? So a lot of times I didn't technically agree with my upbringing or some of the things that were taking place. I thought my mom was hard as hell, right? But again, look at me now, right? That's the joke that she'll tell me now. Oh, baby, you survived. You was okay. You made it okay. I made a good young man and this and that. But when we're in the fire,
You tell it all right.
yeah, we don't like that, man. Like there were some times like my mom said some stuff, and it's like I remember to this day, like she said, and I'm not gonna put it out there, because again, I love her to life, right? She did what she thought was best. I'm pretty sure my sons will tell you right now, I did some stuff that they didn't like, and it just Luke would say, "Well, Dad, you grabbed me by my throat, and you put me on the wall because I didn't drink milk or whatever, and this and that." But it's like, again, you tend to do what you see what was done to you, right? And some people it's like, okay, I'm not going to pass that down to the next generation, right? So at
Right.
some point, it's verbal abuse, it's emotional abuse, there's physical abuse, and there's trauma, right? So it's those things that tend to get passed down until you start to correct them and hold yourself accountable and get around the right people. So
Oh man. Come on, Phil.
Now, I
Go ahead on.
like what you said. I was telling my kids, uh, my family, my aunties, my uncles, but my kids met out my aunties, and they were like, "Man, dang, Dad, you got some hard women in your family." We started laughing. But I told my son, I say, seeing, my boys, my kids, they get to see me and my wife together. You know, I said, well, my man didn't have nobody. It's my mom. I say, she, like you say, Vince, she had to be the man, the cook, the mechanic, the repair. It had to be everything. You know what I'm saying? Had to go to work, make bills, cause she had to make a way in every which way. So I told him, I say, your mama got me and I got your mama. So it's two, then one. I say, imagine if she did, her and her papa stayed together, life would have been different for me and my brother. You know what I'm saying? She wouldn't have had to carry that weight. And I'm quite sure she wouldn't have had to go through a lot of stuff that she go through. She probably went through some other things because my daddy and her like all the water. But I'm just saying, if they could have worked through it, it'd have been a lot better for her. But it was hard for that single woman for her to deal with a lot of things. And I didn't realize it was bad till I met, my first wife, we both had trauma. But when I met my wife now, uh, I was amazed how the type of woman and type of mother she was, and how she used to kiss her son. Might tell her now that she be kissing the boys and hugging them and tucking them in. I'm saying, man, that's soft. I'm saying we wouldn't raise like that, but now I'm seeing. I'm like, dang, I wish I'd have got a little bit of some of that. I'm saying I needed some of that. So, but my mom couldn't give me that because she carried a lot of weight. So, yeah, we had trauma. Yeah, we had some things, but I don't know. I just think, like Vince said, my grandmother, my aunties, my uncles, like we all was loud. Like if you telling them something, you had to find a way. Your voice had to find a way to get in because everybody talking. You couldn't come in there, hey, and hey, nobody hearing you. You know what I'm saying? We like, I'm serious. You got 10 people talking, and everybody trying to get in, and you get in. But if you get that, hey, and you ain't getting in. That was our family. You know what I'm saying? We talking. But the crazy thing about it, when we had our problems, we solved them, and the problem was over. And you think that's how the world worked. You know what I'm saying? If I had a problem with my cousin or my, brother, I never seen my uncles and them. They had their beef, but it stopped right there. They may have a little altercation, but it was over. You know what I'm saying? But when you get in the real world, beef don't stop. You know what I'm saying? People feelings really get hurt. It carry on longer than you thought it would because when you was growing up, family, you got time to make up. You see each other. You love each other. So when I got to start meeting relationships and on the outside and meeting, especially the females and different kind of people, I start seeing, man, your words and things that you have can really hurt somebody.
yeah,
They're not forgiving you. They're not letting it go. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for me, just learning like, and I got a mouth, man. Like I said, my family, we learn words real good. We learn how to hurt you. We don't even have to touch you. You know what I'm saying? We know how to get you real good with our mouthpiece. And then so you get somebody and you think somebody's gonna just take that abuse like that, and you come back the next day like, "Are you still on that?" Man, you put let that go, and that you think that's normal, that's not normal, and that person can't let it go. That person walking around devastated because they ain't never heard nobody talk to them like that or say nothing to them like that, and you still trying to understand it. So, like I said, I still deal with that. I still deal with my words and stuff because I'm real blunt about things. I feel like if something on your mind, what I'm saying. Like the other day, me and my wife was talking, and I was trying to get some give some over to her, and we both were getting frustrated. So I was talking to my brother, and my brother, he real laid back. He like Vince, and he said it some type of way. He said, you could have said it like this. And I'm walking, and I'm like, I wonder why. You know what? I could have said it like that. why did I think of that? You know what I'm saying? Like it was a calm. How he said it was perfect. You know what I'm saying? And I could have said it a better way, but we still growing. I always growing and all. But the point is, after that, I could go back and apologize and say, "Hey, you know what? I said that the wrong way. I could have said it this way. I'm sure I meant this right here, and I should have said it like that." So I'm always apologizing. Me, I haven't learned that trick yet of my words, in my mouth. It's gonna be a lifetime to fix that.
Hey,
Always
if I could jump in and
Go
say
right
that,
ahead. Go right ahead.
I think for me, in saying that, I've had to learn what not to say to my kids because of the experience that I had of what I remember my mom saying. Right, like again, when you're there, you know, you're trying to do whatever you can to get the kids through. But one thing I had to learn was I had to be understand. I didn't want that for my children. Right?
Say it again, man. Your mic went muffled.
You know, I said I had to understand what not to say to my
Yes.
children. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
yeah, oh
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
Got you now.
I had to learn what not to say to my children because of what I heard, what was told to me, which I still remember very vividly, right? And it's that internal scar. It's like a concussion and it's a lesion on the brain and it's like stuck there, right? So it's like, even though I forgive my mom for what she said or what was said or whatever, it's like it made me more aware of what not to say to my children. Was I perfect in my parenting as far as words said and not? No, but I had to be intentional on what not to say in that during those times. And I was writing something down. The three of us are divorced men. It's unfortunate that our first wives didn't get this version of us. Like
Wow.
if you really think of that, it's so I commend and I apologize in advance for all of our ex-wives because they had to put up with the raw version of us that wasn't molded and hadn't learned how to do certain things or say certain things, right? I was joking with a class reunion buddy of mine, right? He's going through a divorce, going through a separation, and he was like, "Yeah," we were joking, and he was like, "Man, the first wife, if you've been married a second time," he's like, "Man, the first wife always gets it the worst." Then I thought about that, and I'm just like, man, it's just like we laughing, but it's almost true, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I,
like
I don't know about that. I don't know.
nah, come on, you got to own it. You got to call it what it is.
You
You
said,
weren't the man. You weren't the man that you are today.
hold
That
on,
you
wait a
were
minute,
back then.
wait a
So the
minute.
first
Say,
version didn't get the complete version of you that you are now.
but you said like the wife didn't do anything either. You know what I'm saying? She had trauma too. There's two sides of every two people. It got to take two. It ain't
I
nobody's
get
perfect.
that, but from a competition standpoint, I'm not trying to say who's more or less. I just got to own up. For me, as a man, I know what I did, right? It take two to tango. She
Yeah.
did her thing, I did my thing, or whatever. But I'm taking it because as a man, I'm supposed to be the leader. So I'm not going to sit up here and
Let me jump in there on that.
yeah,
Let me say something. How was you supposed to be leader when you was raised by a woman?
that has nothing to do with that. That has
Yes,
nothing
it
to do with
does.
that. No, it
Wait. Let
doesn't.
me ask
No,
you.
it
Yeah.
doesn't.
And you
Yeah.
No, it
supposed to be
doesn't.
the
No, it
leader.
doesn't. Because
Yeah.
there's plenty of young
Let me ask
men.
the question. Let me ask the question.
There's plenty
How?
of you.
No.
Listen. You're
Hold
not.
on, I'm at
Let's
finish
go
asking
one
my
at a time.
question.
Let's go one
Let me
at a
finish
time.
asking my
Let's go one
question.
at a time.
Let
Let me
me tell
answer
you
my
something,
question.
brother.
Let me ask you my question.
Hmm.
Let me ask you my question before you start saying it. You said you supposed to be a leader. A woman raised you with trauma. So now explain to me how that doesn't matter.
So you're telling me that a woman with trauma can't be a leader?
Not as a man, no.
Oh, come on, no.
I'm
I have
asking you a
to,
question. No.
I have to respectfully disagree with you if you're going to sit up here and tell me that just because a woman had trauma, she can't responsibly
I said
raise
a
someone.
woman cannot teach you how to be a man. No, she cannot. She cannot teach you how to be a man as a leader for your home. No, no way.
I think my
No,
mom did a very good job to teach me how to be a leader of my home because there are
Okay,
some
right.
things that you
Now,
hold
now,
on.
now, he's not saying your mama didn't do a good job.
You
Take
have
it
to
up.
let me finish, Key. You got to let me
I ain't
finish.
saying nothing. I'm listening.
Even though there were some shortcomings that my mom didn't have or had, it was up to me. I'm not going to put the full responsibility and say, because I think a lot of people get the misinterpretation of saying, well, a woman can't raise a man. That's false. That's false. Because if you look at the statistics from, especially in our black community, it's a lot of single homes that's being raised by single women. Yeah, that the men are have
Messed
grown
up
and
too.
have been
They messed
successful.
up too. They messed up too.
Let me,
I know some dads that have messed up too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit up here and put a black
Now,
female down or like a
the
woman
question
down to say
is,
just because
the
they've
question
had
is,
trauma that they
the,
can't do that.
the question is, you telling me, look what you just said, there's a lot of dads messed up. Again, how did the dads get messed up? You saying as a man, I'm telling you, a woman cannot teach a man to be a leader as a man in his home. She can
That's a
teach him as
lie.
a woman. She can
Nope.
teach him as she can
Nope.
teach him what a woman. How do she know? Tell me.
Nope.
So if her father went in the home, this is what I'm saying. If her father went in the home, she didn't have no guidance or there. Now she got a boy. Now how she gonna teach this boy how to be the man? What how many books she need to read? Explain this to me.
I strongly disagree with you on
Now
I'm
that.
here,
asking a question. No, answer the question.
I
How
strongly
many
disagree
books?
with
Wait a
you.
minute. Listen. How many books? If she don't have a father, she never had a father in her home. She came from a single mother. Now she got a boy. Explain to me how she got trauma too. How can she teach you to be a man to raise your family as a man? Tell me. I'm asking an example. I'm not saying that it ain't, but I want you to tell me how then.
I can't give you specifics because everybody does things differently in their
so,
own home.
hey,
But
hey, hey,
you're
Fletcher,
asking about books. You're asking
Fletcher,
about books. There is
how do
one book that you can go by and you can read the Bible and you can get the instructions on how to as much as you can. All these self help books is out there and this and that. Mm-mm.
Fletcher, how do you suppose a man get to be a man in taking that mantle?
Or he had to have some other men around him, elders around him. He got to have some other men around him, elders around him for guidance. Because I'm saying my mother, like I said, my mother was a strong mother, a real strong mother. But my mother was emotional, very emotional about everything. So I'm saying my dad was the type, when I got with my dad, he was the type, because I lived with my mom and my dad. When I with my mom, she always hollering, screaming, fussing all the time, just and no conversation. When I with my dad, it was a conversation. Now he was mad, but it was a conversation. It was all about teaching me something. Even if I did something wrong, it was about getting, because I'm gonna be in a situation. It was about situationing understanding. What about, oh, you out of you mess? It was about a situation, even with my grandfather, even with my Uncle Larry, even with my Uncle George, all these men, even men that I met, they was always like they was trying to show me something. Lay up, long blood. Come here, let me show you this. You don't need to be out there doing this. Other women, it was fussing. It was hollering.
You know, as you was talking, and both of y'all was talking, I was reminiscing of my own childhood upcoming, and when I became an adult. Uh, whenever I dated someone, it was important, as you said, Fletcher, and in our household growing up, you had to get in and fit in where you could because everybody had an opinion. It was very opinionated. But when I grew up to be a young adult and dated someone, I don't know about the rest of them, but for me, my test, I would leave them there with my oldest sister and with Keith's mother. And if they could hang and get approval from them, that was pretty good because my oldest sister and Keith's mother, they were tough. I mean, they were tough. And I had another sister. She have transcend now, but she was more. Her character was somewhat different from my oldest sister and Keith's mother. And I noticed as I grew older, I started striving for more balance in my life, like my sister who have transcended. But I reflect that the information I received, most importantly in my life, in understanding my relationship, was a conversation with my father when he would tell me something plain and simple that I really didn't accept, to be honest with everybody, because I thought that was just too simple, but it was so profound and more truthful. My dad would say, if you really want to learn who that person is, follow them home, see what their home life. I know, don't that sound cliche, brothers?
Nah, but
And see how see how her mother and father communicate. See how the house network work together. And 9 times out of 10, that's who they are is who she is. I found out that to be more true in my life today for what that worth. Talking about unspoken wounds. Anybody want to pick up on anything I said and
I,
make some
I
sense of
agree
it?
with you on that. When you go to somebody's home, I tell my son at our time, you sing a single home. I'm gonna just say with me. I was that guy. I dated a lot of girls. So if I went to your home and there was no man there, it was always easy for me. I knew what to say to the mother. I knew what to pay. But when your man was there, oh no, you ain't coming in. You had to sit a certain way. You had to act a certain way. You might not even get in the door. I don't care if he a drunk. I don't care if he ain't no. He go, hey, bro. He already know. Hey, what you doing? What's your name? Who is your people? Where you come from? Oh, y'all leave him alone. Nah, I ain't leaving nothing alone. You already know you gonna get in line. But the mama, you come in there. Who are your people? Well, I'm so and so. You can put on that. They're gonna listen. Oh, he's a nice young man. He this and he that. But that man, he don't care if he's nice. You gonna be dressed. You gonna be this. He gonna ask you what them serious questions. Hey, bro, why you sitting on my sofa like that? You think you done made it in here or something like that? Hey, sit up some type of way. Get yourself, form yourself up. It's a certain way that you're gonna come, that it's gonna be. That's what I'm just saying with me, and I've been on both ends of the. I've been there when it come to my sister-in-laws or my kids. Your dude come to my house. Oh, you got to act a certain way. I'm already seeing you. I'm reading you up and down. And the women tell you right there, just leave him alone. No, you got to have a conversation with me. I want to see what you saying, where you come from. You can men know men, but men know men by the conversation and what it say. And at that time, if I do get in cope with you, now I can give you something too, give you a word or something too, or what's going to be going over here. Hey man, you can't be coming over here. You ain't gonna be coming over here this late.
Now
It's
you
not,
know what, Fletcher. I thought about this too. Now let's be real with this. My oldest sister, your oldest aunt, I don't recall her being emotional when she was communicating and teaching, giving. She was she was academic, brother.
but see again, you just said two people together because you right. When I brought my wife to meet, she met my oldest auntie and she met my mother. Women. I brought them to meet the women and let them get with the women. And
Yes,
they told me,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
they told me, hey,
yes,
that's a good one right there.
yes,
This,
exactly.
this, this. There, I brought her to meet a woman. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
they told you, like you said, most time out of 10, like I said, I brought somebody home to meet my mother, and if my mother didn't get along to my no, and they was always right. You're correct about that. It's a way to be in a certain way. But I'm saying as a man, and I'm saying to be real right there, teaching a man. I tell my wife that we had a discussion about that when they were talking about raising boys. And you know what I'm saying? And her best friend and her father wasn't always in that life. And I asked that question, like, you telling me how to be a father. How can you say that when your father, was you looking at the Cosby Show or something? Did the Cosby Show teach you how to be, that a dad should be a certain way? Because life don't just, everything don't just go like the Cosby Show. You know what I'm saying? So explain that to me. I just feel it take men and other men to come together. A man can correct another man, right? We can come together and say, hey, brother, what are you doing? You're not taking care of your child? No, we don't do that around here. Well, nah, man, this. Nah, you need to have that a better way. But when you have a woman, you're gonna be, oh, he's this, he that. No, it's different with men, teaching men how to be a man. Because like I tell my wife now, my son gonna go places that you never been. You're gonna see things that you ain't never seen. I done seen things and did things my mama never could tell me about. But my dad have. My dad done told me things before, and I get my grandmother always say, boy, you're gonna learn by and by. My uncles done told me something that my mama never would have seen, never understood. So that's what I'm saying. It's different with men, teaching how to be a man. I'm not saying leaders, and that especially. And like I heard this Charles White was saying, if you want to, especially black men with trauma, send them to the military because they're going to teach them discipline, character, all these things right there that they're going to teach them. You know what I'm saying? And I was in the Army. When we was in the Army, I'm going to tell you, had female drill sergeant and it had male drill sergeant. The first thing you will hear, do not go deal with the female drill sergeant. They taking it personal. You wouldn't mess with them. That male drill sergeant deal with it. He gonna put it in. He got a job to do. He teaching, training. He gonna get in there. But that female, it would be personal. You wouldn't deal with that thing. So I'm telling you, I done had both ends. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying my view of the situation. You know what I'm saying? So you have yours, I have mine with that. That's it.
Come on back in here, Vincent.
No, we just gonna have to. We gonna both have to have our separate opinions because I know.
Are you in your feelings about that? I'm just saying.
Are you gonna let me finish talking?
Go ahead.
Okay. So from my experience, and I've seen a lot because we keep talking about we need a man, we need a man, we need a man. It's good to want to have a man at the house, yes. But I know plenty of cases where the man has been present, he's been there, but he ain't been there, right? So we keep emphasizing you got to have a man in the house. Yeah, that's idea, right? We want the man, we want the dad, we want the mom and dad. But when the man don't know how to be a man, then what's left? Okay, so I've seen plenty of strong Black women, and I have a lot of examples of Black women that have raised their sons to be doctors, lawyers, professionals, and learned, right? So again, they've had to figure it out, whether they've gone through the trauma or not. This goes way back to the slave days. My brother, they've been carrying this for the longest, but we keep talking about this, all right? Now, it's ideal for that to happen, but there are cases where women that they really stronger than some of the brothers out there, and they holding it down, but we're not giving them enough credit about that because we keep saying we got to have one in the house. Again, I'll give great examples of where the man has been present and the kid has been worse off because the old man was there because he didn't know how to handle his ish. So this gets deeper than that. So we can talk about that. It's idea. I give you my example. You said yours, right? I came up in a single parent home. Old man wasn't there. Wasn't gonna be there.
And your mama got you upset about that. Look how your feelings, look how your temper get when you say about that. Who told you?
I don't have a temper. What this is?
I bet she told you he was no good. He wasn't this. He wasn't that. Did she? Did she say that? Did she say that?
What I'm seeing is I let you talk for about 10 to 15 minutes, right, brother? Right. But you're not giving me that same respect.
Go ahead.
No, you keep saying it, but you keep interrupting me.
Right.
Go ahead, man.
You're saying I'm getting no. What this is I'm passionate because I've seen cases.
You in your feelings right now.
I'm not in my feelings. I'm passionate. But you're not going to be quiet enough to let me say what I got to say.
Man, say it.
Go ahead, brother.
Hey, folks, this is World Premiere Word on the Street. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere, friends. We will be right back. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to the World Premiere Word on the Streets.
All right, family. Now it's time to go deeper. This is the moment where we peel back the layers, challenge old thinking, and get real about what's truly holding us back and what can finally push us forward. So grab your journals, lean in, and don't just listen, engage. And if something resonates with you tonight, do us a favor, subscribe, like, and share this message with someone who needs it, because the conversation we're having is bigger than us. This is the World Premiere Word on the Streets.
Does your mother verbally attack you? Does she use her words to viciously assault your character, your confidence, and your worth? Does she speak to you in a manner that makes you feel worthless or like she hates you? The reason your mother verbally attacks you is to invite you to leave her. She doesn't know how to tell you that she is unprepared to be your mother. She doesn't know how to tell you that it's in your best interest to leave her. She does not know how to say that she does not want you. She shows you that what she wants is a punching bag, a sponge to absorb her rage. She is not able to parent innocent, beautiful, wonderful, talented you. She's not capable. So rather than internalize her verbal attack and allow it to weaken you, accept it for the invitation it is and go no contact. Give your mother the space she needs to fall apart, to be alone with her trauma, her brokenness, and her rage so that you can flourish and live your best life.
All right, word on the streets, family. Let's continue to part 2 of Unspoken Wounds, how childhood trauma fuels today's mental health crisis. And please keep those comments coming. We love to hear your opinions.
Welcome back, friends, to part 2, Unspoken Wounds. As you all can see, we are still dealing with a lot of unspoken wounds, even in our own personal lives. And perhaps so are you. We would love to hear from you, our community. Don't be shy, friends. Send us some comments in the chat room, and we can address some of your comments out there on
Extraordinary.
World Premiere
Let me
Word
say
on the
something
Street.
extraordinary right quick. Nobody
Come on
said
in.
a mother didn't do a good job. No one said she didn't do a good job. Just because you went became a doctor, that don't mean you successful. We talking about trauma because a job or a skill do not make you successful. We talking about deeper into that. It's deeper to this. This is what I'm saying here. It's deeper than that. Not saying that a woman can't raise a man to be that, but I'm saying to be a leader, be the fool, it takes two. A woman got her role and a man has his role. That's what I'm saying. He have his role. I'm saying I can speak for myself. I can't speak about your mother for you with your mother, brother. I asked a question. What I feel, my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. You feel your mother did a fantastic job with you. I met you. Your mother did that. Great to you. But I'm saying when I lived with my mother, I had my mother and I had men around me too. But when I went with my father, it was a different. It was different. That's all I'm telling you as a man and being around men. I'm just saying that. And to be a leader. In the military, I was around men that taught me how to be a leader and all that stuff. Not saying the women can't, but I know a lot of women have emotions too with the thing. I don't know your mother. I don't know your situation with you. I'm speaking about me. But I don't know about you saying when you made that point, well, I'm tired of people having this conversation. You got good women have this, and they got good jobs, doctors and lawyers. To me, that don't mean that you still don't have trauma because you're a doctor, lawyer, or whatever you are, a scientist. I'm saying that still we talking about trauma. That's all I'm saying.
Friends, community. Here's where I see things, and hopefully we can get some resolvement here. And what you all are witnessing is perhaps basically from the way that the three of us was brought up, and and so therefore the way that we were brought up, we discuss back and forth. Sometimes that discussion is not pretty, but in the end, we always heal, we always work through it so we can move forward. Because the bottom line, the purpose is being intentional. What are our end game intentional? Is to move forward. I have no doubt about that from all three of us. The end goal is to move forward. The end goal is to help someone else move forward, not stay stuck, and certainly not allow our emotions to keep us stuck. And am I right about what I'm saying right there, brothers?
I hear what you're saying. I hear about the motion part. Yep.
No, you're right. I think the one thing that we have to understand, everybody has a certain level of baggage. Everybody. Everybody has a certain level of baggage, trauma that they're going through and that they're dealing with, period, point
Right.
blank, whether you're man or female. Some baggage is too heavy for other people to carry and they don't want to be a part of it. So they move on to the next person, either the next partner, either the next individual, next husband, next wife, next spouse. We're not perfect, right? We're always going to have baggage and we're always going to have trauma. It's how you deal with it and how you address it, whether you're a single black woman, single black man, married, or whatever the case.
That's right. That look. And the thing is too, Word on Streets community. This show isn't about whether who's right and who's wrong. The show is about how can we heal? How can we get better? How can we move forward? That's the purpose. That's the end game. The end game is always when the three of us talk among ourselves is, man, how can we move forward? Am I right about what I'm saying, brothers?
Yeah,
What
I think the thing that you have to understand also, even though, and I'll give my example and a lot of other examples, even though that there's a single parent, a single mom at the house, sometimes, and this is what I did, I gravitated and I started putting myself around and I started learning, right? Because old man wasn't going to be there, right? So for me, the trauma that I had to carry, and I wanted to make sure I didn't overcompensate in my parenting because of what I didn't have as far as a male figure at the house on a consistent basis, right? So I had to make sure I didn't overcompensate for what I didn't have because what you despise sometimes you become.
You become.
So I had to be very intentional on learning from this. We hear that word self-made, man-made, right? Again, it was me learning how to work on cars. Mama didn't work on cars. I had to go in the neighborhood, right? There's a lot of stuff that I had to learn on my own. After we get a certain age, we already weaning ourselves off the breast anyway, right? We should be off that breast milk and start getting some solid foods and some other stuff, right? So it's like, even though there's a mom and a dad that may be at the house, there's certain things that we need from the mom. And yeah, I agree, certain things that we need from the dad. But if the old man isn't there, then we got to do the next best thing, right? Because we can't keep kicking ourselves in the butt saying, well, because of what we don't have and what we lack, can't use that as an excuse because we got to get past it. Because if I use that as an excuse, if I kept looking through the rear view, I'd never get to go forward. So,
That's
so
well
I'm asking a
said.
question. What did you have any uncles?
I did.
Was the uncles there?
Uncles were there off and on.
Okay, so well, like I say, all I can do when I speak for me, and when I got with my dad, I had a lot of trauma about my dad because it was told to me about my dad. So when I got with my dad, I'm holding stuff in that had nothing to do with me. But when I realized that I had to let that go and start to get to know my dad for myself, I'm saying me, and I'm speaking on me. When I started letting them know my dad for myself and start saying, hey, that was between my mama and my daddy. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, I tell my kids, I give my kids a stir. I say, when I was a kid, I was mad at my dad. So my dad, I used to say he was always mad. He was always had a problem. Nothing was happy with him. So I used to sit there and he would try to show me about working on cars or do it. And he was always mad. And I didn't like being around him. So I asked my son them now, they see me and my daddy working on cars, we drinking a beer, we laughing. I say, what happened? Why couldn't I do that then and now? What's the difference? My son said, well, Dad, I don't know what's the difference. I say, my daddy was trying to give me something. Guess where I was at? My mind was talking about I didn't want to be there. I want to be with my friends. I was mad what my mama told me about my dad, what somebody else told me. All that stuff was in there. So I was annoying all that. I said, once I let that go, now me and my dad can sit and have a beer, laugh, play, listen to music, get to know him, working on cars, and no problem. See, when I was a child, I asked that I did childish things, but when I became a man, I put them childish things away and tried to receive that from him. And when I did that, for me, again, it changed it. It changed everything. It changed everything for me. When I started putting it saying, let me meet him for where he at for me. I don't want to hear my daddy was running women, he did this, he messed with this, he had a child here, he had all those things I heard. But when I said, let me give it a chance to see and open up, that's when things changed for me. I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That's when I started learning things and started seeing things and became understanding with me. That's all I'm saying. So Nothing against you, brother, about your situation. I ain't judging not what a woman can and can't do. I'm saying about me. I've been around men all my life, and I was a troubled kid. Like my kids now, and I'm going a little long. I'm sorry. My kids right now, they say, okay, you raise your kid this way, that way, Keith. I raise my kids off situations. I raise my kids off life. Like I say, I raised my kids about things that have happened that I know can happen. I can't prevent it, but I'm gonna say one thing. You're gonna say, "Daddy, I didn't know," or "Daddy, you didn't tell me." That's all I can give them. That's a man thing. What I went through with this and that and that, and hopefully I don't get no bad seed to them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give the truth to them, and it's gonna be different than what their mama get to them. And my son, they don't like it. They're like, "Oh man," because their mama gonna give it to them a different way than I give it to them. But I'm giving the truth to them in the way I give it to them. The way, in the way somebody gave it to me, that's all I know. The way my grandfather gave it to me, my uncles gave it to me, and my daddy gave it to me, and I'm giving it to them. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying it was different for me. Nothing against any mom. I love my mom. My mom was a strong black woman, very educated woman, intelligent woman. You know what I'm saying? Hard woman when she needed to be. But when that man, it was different way for me. But that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and Keith, I'm glad you said that. We don't have no issue. It just I do take it personal when I hear individuals say, and again, I hear this a lot, right? That a woman can't raise a man. Again, there are some scenarios, or she can't teach a man how to be a man, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
I totally agree with some of the aspects about that, right? But when there is no man present, you must continue to move on, right? And so my mom dated guys, right? Had guys there, right? You know, you learn, you know, you watch, you know, you see your mom crying. It's like, you know, so you learn what to do and what not to do, right? But I just get passionate, even though you may say emotional. I get passionate because coming from a single home, I know the struggle that my mom had to go through, right? I look at my wife now, right? Raised two kids on her own, right? In a sense of, you know, she was married during the time, right? There was a man there, you know, certain part of the time, right? So again, when it comes to that, saying, you know, that yes, there are elements that a woman just can't provide for a man and to a young boy to show, right? I'll give you a little secret. And this is what it's probably you're gonna be like, okay, I see it. I had to tell my wife this last year. I said, you know what? When you see me being quiet, I said, it's because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I said, and if you see me acting some type of way, I said, I was raised by a woman. I said, so my answers and my responses, excuse the word I'm about to say, may be a little bitch like, right? I actually told her that. I had to confess. I had to open up. I said, look, I came up from a single mom. I was like, you know, there are some elements that I just didn't know, right? Don't mean I'm funny. Don't mean I'm this or that or whatever else. It just, there's some elements of, you know, even though my mom was hard, you know, I got some people that'll tell you from my childhood to say, hey, they didn't want to come around because your mom hard as hell, right? There are elements that a man needs to get from a man, right? Whether it be trauma or not.
Mhm.
Our man was the postal mail carrier for our neighborhood, right? You get teased all the time. You don't know your dad and your mama dating all these men, blah, 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 this and blah, that. And it's like, okay. And then to see him at the peephole, that's what my dad looked like, right? And then when you try to establish that relationship, man in the same city, and it's like you don't get anything from him. It ain't about what my mom said because she didn't say anything negative. It's just somebody just wasn't present,
Mhm.
right? There was no notion to want to get to know me from what I saw,
Mhm.
right? You can only extend the olive branch so much until you get tired of getting your feelings hurt. You got to protect you, right? So, but
It's
no,
almost, yeah, it's almost what the artist just said. You have to decide no contact.
But
yeah,
let me say this to you. And I think you get me confused. I'm not. I said a man. Now, when I say a man, I go through the list. What you got a grandfather, you got uncles, you got men that came in your life. You know what I'm saying? I had different men. That's what I'm saying. It's not just your dad. You know what I'm saying? The Most High provide everything. It's not just your dad. Even like my mama had a boyfriend. His name was I ain't gonna say his name, but this dude was so good to, and he came at the right time. And my mama said to us today, he wasn't for her. He was for us. And real talk, he was. Man, he did everything. And but see, again, we allowed him in. We allowed him to come in to be able to be that dude. You know what I'm saying? And he was a military guy, and we still talk to him this day. He came in at the right time, but he could have came in and we still we'd have missed that. He taught my brother how to drive. He did other things, conversations with me. You know what I'm saying? It was just it was him coming in, talking to us, doing things, but we allowed him in there too. So what I'm saying, the thing, like even my mom, like we ran track, he would come to my mom wasn't gonna come to no track meet like that. He showed up with the drinks, with the stuff. That was that moment. That was him, and he was talking to all the guys. It was a moment in time for us. So I'm not saying your dad. I'm not just talking about because, like you said, that is an emotional thing. But I'm saying the men to come in and be there, uncles, grandfathers, this. You know what I'm saying? I done had them all in there. And like I said, if I would have had just my mom, I'm just being real with you. And I don't care, and extraordinary mighty because that's his sister. But if I'd have had my mom, man, I'm telling you, it would have been proud. And like you say, that part, like you say, excuse the language, bitchy, I got that bitchy from her. My wife would tell me, she called me Anna Ree all the time because I do. I start going off and I know I'm her. You know what I'm saying? To that point like that. My
Yeah.
brother got my dad. My brother's like laid back. He got that, and I don't have that. But me and my mom have our thing. But like I said, I'm a mama's boy. But I'm saying, but the men had a lot of men. If I didn't have those men come in my life and do those things, I would have been raised different.
Yeah.
I know I'd have been
Yeah,
different.
yeah, and I stand corrected, Keith. I apologize on that because I do stand corrected. There was a stint where my mom was married to this one gentleman, Otis, for 5 years.
Yeah.
Otis set that foundation for me.
See, that's what I'm saying right there, brother.
He
I'm sorry.
was he
Y'all.
was
Yeah.
he was one of the ones that, like you said, there was a time, right? He laid that foundation
Yeah.
for me for 5 years when him and my mom were married. After they got a divorce, he still was active in my life until the day he died, right? So I did have somewhat of a male structure. I had uncles. My uncle Bradley, who's deceased, taught me how to pray, right? Taught me about the Bible. Got my uncle Johnny, got my uncle Daniel, got my uncle Joseph. Like there are uncles that really poured into me that taught me stuff. But again, they came around, right?
Yeah.
So I stand corrected on that part because even with me and my stepson from my first marriage, some stuff has an expiration date, right? There's a time, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like my job was done, right? Because I was like, okay, there was a time period where I needed to be in his life to help him, right? So I get what you're saying on that.
And let me say this right here. I'm being real. I've been knowing you for years. I already knew that man had been in your life. I done had deep conversation with you about that. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I grew up just and we said all the time, me and Vince had the same mothers. Nobody could come to my mama house. She wouldn't let nobody in her house. You know, like I said, I got teased about that
Yeah.
all the time. Like my mom was serious about that. You ain't touch your stuff. Ain't nobody coming in the house. That's a house. Now, when I went to my dad's house, it was a jungle house. You know, my friend, my stepmother cooked. My mom like, nah, we ain't doing that. And my mom ain't having that, which it was two worlds. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I knew you had men in your life because I talked to you, V. I done had deep conversation with you. I see how you raise your boy, your stepsons. I know that man. I know how you speak on because I've been around, man. And like I said, so I knew that you had that. Nothing against your mother. I know I met your mother before, but I know my mom. And I know how when you be telling me stuff, I be getting cold sweats because I be like, ooh, I remember that. I was I know, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't play. You know what I'm saying? They didn't play at all, bro. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but
But
like I said,
again, I think part of the reason why I'm so passionate is maybe that's some of that trauma that I'm carrying, right?
yeah,
So we sit up here talking about how the childhood, there were elements and parts of my life where I'm frustrated that my biological father wasn't there, right? So it's some of that trauma that I do carry, and I may get a little bit more sensitive, as we may say, or emotional because of what wasn't, but I forget what I did have there as
that's
far
the
as
point.
uncles and stepfather and things of that nature.
That's all I wanted to say right there. Nothing like saying I knew, I'm gonna mess with you about the motion, but I knew you had males in your life. I don't care. Like I said, I was gonna go down in with that. And I know extraordinary, like, wait a minute. Now And I'm not taking nothing from his mother. His mother had to step up and do. I don't take nothing from my mom. Like I told my kids, I say, my mama did a wonderful job. You know what I'm saying? For the card that she was dealt,
Yeah.
man, ain't no way I wouldn't have it no other way. And my mama, she don't even give herself slack. She say, I wish I could have did more. And I tell her, me and my brother, it's no more you could have done. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
no more. We got everything we needed and wanted. You know what I'm saying? There's no more she could have done. You know what I'm saying? Only thing could have been if somebody else came in and they'd have been better. Exactly. But her as a woman, as any man, like I say, he could have done more. One, it's hard especially at that time. But I'm saying it's a village, it's a community, and I had uncles, grandfathers. You know what I'm saying? People that like dude that saw me, Pa Sam. I remember to this day, man. Pa Sam, dude named Chase in Dallas. When I met this guy, I had older guys, my Uncle Willie, that sit down, even though that I was clowning and all this, and my mama, you gonna go to jail. My aunt, they're like, boy, come here, you all right. Look, yeah, I saw that was a good fight. I saw it. But look, we can't, we gonna, you know what I'm saying? We got to get you in line. We gotta change that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta use that energy some other kind of way.
Yeah.
Men don't do this. You know what I'm saying? You can't have this. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it'll be something simple as you smoke, hey, when you rolling that blunt, if they ain't rolled that blunt, if somebody you rolled it yourself, and then somebody might say that's string, but I seen guys get messed up and tripped out on drugs and flipped and they messed up for the rest of their life. But I would get like, hey, if you smoking and you ain't roll it, you ain't see it roll, you better not hit that. You see what I'm saying? And some people, you will see them guys just say, hey man, you want to hit this? And they were smoking. You be like, dude, you don't even know what you smoking. Something
Yeah.
similar to that the dude told me that. You know what I'm saying? But my mama told me, I better see you on no drugs. You want to be this. It wasn't no conversation. You see what I'm saying with that? It was a different conversation. And I'm not using drugs, but I'm just saying it was a different conversation for me on that. Yeah.
In short, so what you saying, Fletcher? There's some reason to your madness, your method, your
Exactly.
method, your methods.
I told hey, start now. I told you I don't explain things, but I don't say things the right way at the same
Right,
time.
and that basically, I'm sure you felt me. That's what here's my thing is that uh, our goal and point being on this platform is always to help somebody out there. And sometimes helping people is not always pretty. And in the process, sometimes we put our hand on that stove and we realize that we are still tender in certain areas in our life that we didn't know we were.
Yeah.
What did we found out? And Vincent, just like you found out you were still tender in that area, I found out something not too long ago with myself. Brothers, Fletcher, I thought I had grown. You hadn't heard from me in a couple of days. The reason you hadn't heard from me, because I was coping, bro. My computer went down. And for some of you all, y'all make, well, what's that? Let me tell y'all. They'll tell you my house, my computer's it's like everything. I really do. I breathe and live online. When I tell you I'm on here 24/7, pretty much I'm on here 24/7 because I'm always it's something inside of me that feel like I got so much to catch up with because I feel as if I wasted a lot of years when I was in my first relationship, and I'm constantly trying to play catch up. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I'm constantly trying to fill that void. I have a hunger for knowledge and information and being better. And I'm working on just being better and not having this computer. It went down. I was just beside myself and brought it to the Geek Squad. They took care of the situation and I felt so much better. But what I found is that I was out of control for a moment and so I started wondering myself, where's all that growth, all that listening you've been doing to all these people, and you're still coming apart over that? And so what I'm saying, we all have some tender areas in our life that we don't know they there until they've been pinched. Now, see, Fletcher pinched his friend. And the thing is, now I thought that maybe he should don't want to, we don't want I don't want to see you pitch him here on live on the platform. But look what happened. Look what happened. Some good came out of it because why? We're always the three of us. I can guarantee y'all this, family. We're always our purpose, our goal, our destiny is to go beyond and get to the other side. And if we got to go through the lions, tigers, and bears, we're going to go through it because that's who we are. That's our DNA. That's Vincent DNA. Vincent is a coach. That's Fletcher DNA. When Fletcher was a child, man, Fletcher is he ain't never been soft. So he's working on it, but he ain't there yet, as
But
we can see.
let me
So
say
y'all
this.
go ahead on.
Let me say this right here. And like Vince said, I'm passionate about this. For a man to stay in his home, like you said, our fathers left. My grandfather, he blind, raised 10 kids and other people kids. But to stay in your home and to stay by your not even stay in your home, to stay there but for your kids. I don't care if you get divorced and you still be a presence, you still come show up, you still, man, hey, I'm not, hey, I honor every man that does that. Now, if you're a dude that don't take care of his family, don't do this, hey, I'm gonna speak against, I'm gonna tell you you can't be my friend and don't take care of your kids. I take that passionately. I'm passionate about that. But a brother that stand up and be there, and I know you're a stand-up guy, coaching other kids, being there for your kids, man, I'm gonna go to war for that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go like I take this seriously. Like my boys, I was telling my daughter one day, and I was on her about something. She said, Dad, why you always on me, but you never say nothing to the boys? I said, how you know I don't say nothing to the boys? She said, well, Daddy, you always saying something to me. I say, listen to me. And I want to explain this to you. And like you said, I give my kids the raw deal. I say, listen to me, baby. I said, them boys can go out and mess up, have kids, jump from one girl, go to another girl, be a bum. Somebody would take them in, a woman would take them in and let them live with them for free. Feed them, clothe them, everything. I say, unfortunately, you don't get that choice. You don't get to do that. See, you got kids, the kids
Yeah,
usually stay with you.
yeah.
You got to be the daddy, the mom, the car, you got to be everything. So when I'm telling you something, I'm telling you as everything. Them boys can go multiple women, multiple women. I say, you know why? Because daddy done did it. They'll take care of them, clean them up, and it might take them a while to become men. Because I say, it's going to take them a while to become men. They ain't going to hit it till about their 30s when they realize, oh, some read it early, but most gonna be late. They late bloomers, most guys. But women, y'all start early. Y'all got it quick. Y'all smart. Y'all, especially when y'all had their kids. Y'all just got a different way of doing things. So I gotta get you ready for you. I gotta get you strong enough to believe in yourself. That you, no matter what, you still got to get up in the morning. You still got to get them kids dressed for school. You still got to go crank the car up. You still got to go to work. You still got to, no matter what, anything, all these bad things happen. The kid's sick. You still got to go. But the men, they'll be standing on somebody's sofa or laying in somebody's bed, getting fussed at, put out, get put back in, and they're gonna take them back in. But you, and I say, matter of fact, I say, let me show you an example. I say, do you take the trash out in the house? She say, no. I say, who take the trash out? Boy, I say, do you mow the yard around here? No. I say, so things that you do that you think your brothers and them doing those things. So I'm working with them their way, and I'm working with you this way. You know what I'm saying? And your mama working with you that way, and I'm working with you. So it's always. But I tell my kids right now, I will sacrifice my friendship. I'm real. I for real. And I'm telling people. And some people say it's wrong. I don't care. I will sacrifice my friendship with my kids to teach them something, to save them. Now they don't take it, that's them. Because my oldest son told me one day, he called me on the phone and he said, Dad, I just want to tell you, you sorry, you do this. And I said, what you say? Man, you was a sorry father. You was this, you was that. And I'm listening to him on the phone. But I'm hearing him. I'm like, I said, well, go ahead and say what you got to say. You get it off your chest. And he telling me, you was this, you was that. So when he got done, I said, well, can I speak now? He said, yeah. I said, the only thing I'm hurt about, it's not about what you're saying, is that you didn't say it in my face. I thought I taught you to be a man enough to come say these things to me in my face. Obviously, I did something wrong there. I did. I said, but let me say this what's gonna happen. I told him just like this. I say, I get it. And he in college, just like they're young, as a child. I said, well, you know you're in college. And the reason you're in college, you don't have a job. I really take care of you still, like your cell phone. I see your money. I do this, but I'm a sorry dad. I say, today is Tuesday. I'm gonna give you till Friday to see if you want to change your mind on what you said. Now, you don't have to. It's your choice, but I'm gonna give you till Friday, and I'm gonna call you Friday. We're gonna have another discussion. So Friday come, I called him. I said, "Hey, son," he like, my mind made up. This. I said, "Well, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna cut your phone off." I start telling him all the stuff I'm gonna do, and I say, "Listen to me and hear me clearly. When life start whooping you, and it start beating you down, and it's raining out there, and it's hailing out there, I said, I'm gonna come with that umbrella. I'm gonna come with that coat. I'm gonna wrap that coat around you, and I'm gonna put the umbrella. I'm gonna put the umbrella. I'm gonna tell you, come here, son, and I'm gonna hug you. And when I hug you, I'm gonna say something in your ear. I say, I forgive you, but I ain't forgot what you said. I'm a petty. I'm not gonna forget what you told me, but I still love you. But I'm gonna bring you home and dress you up. That's it. So that's what I'm saying, man. The kids say things. The people say all these people got these rules how to raise your kids. It's no book to this. It's no book to life. I tell my son, I just want you to be able to stand up in life. When stuff's going wrong and storms and the hurricanes coming and it knocked the house down, what you do after that? That defines a man to me. It's what do you do after all those things happen? Then talk to me. That's it.
Hey, Keith, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you have to remind him and whisper in his ear everything that he said? Isn't you being there for him saying that for you? Your
No,
action? Your
no.
so your action isn't saying that as opposed to your words?
Mm-mm. Let me say this. See, I tell my kids, all of them know, I come from a different time. I come from respect. I would have never said that to none of my. I'm to my uncle. I wouldn't even say that to my aunt's uncle. I wouldn't say that to no. I wouldn't say that to my people that have done for me. You know what I'm saying? And the point that you didn't realize that something I failed you for not to realize. So let me show you this. Fast forward. My son went to take his mama home, and I know she on his thing. He went to take his mama home. He called me again. He said, Dad. I said, what's up, bro? He said, I just want to tell you, I'm so thankful. I said, what you thankful for? I'm thankful you didn't give up on me. I see my cousins, man. I'm thankful what they're going through, that I have a dad that's been there for me, giving me. You see what I'm saying? You got to realize that, man. No, they don't just looking. You got to own it. It's consequences to everything in life, eh? See, and we get away with, like I say, people, when I tell my kids, when you get in trouble, like me, when I did things extraordinary, tell you I was in trouble. But when I did something, I knew what I was doing. It's no reason that you're going to, well, you didn't know. I knew. And I was ready to deal with the consequences. I was ready to die for my consequences. I was ready to own up. My grandmother told me right there in the butt, boy, you get this. I knew what's going to happen. And I was ready to deal with it. What may come. It's always, you got to come, you got to deal with your consequences. So you mindful, like you said, you know what people, you can say to people that hurt. That what he told me, no, I can't ever. And like I told him this right here, I said, but the crazy thing about it, I said, son, let me show you about life. I said, you can go out and make it in life. They're going to say, boy, that boy daddy did a great job with him. He did this, he did that. Look at him. Look how well he good. Dad was in his life. And then I told him, I say, you can fail in life. And they're going to say, Dad tried to tell him. He was there with him the whole time. He was walking. I remember they used to do this, and that boy still wouldn't listen. And he failed. In a way, I'm going to win. But I deal with conversation. I'm not going to never be who I am is who I am. I can't apologize for that. I can't. I ain't, because I know what's waiting for you out there. Like Strawner said all the time, there's some lions, tigers, and bears out there that's waiting for you. That some of them don't get to come back. Some of them get ate up, balled, leg get taken off, but they still alive. Some people don't get to come back. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get you to come back. You know, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm not even trying not to get you wounded, because you're gonna get wounded. But I'm trying to at least get you to come back. I can't stop you from getting scars or wounded, but I'm trying to get you to come back, to build yourself up and say, I can overcome that. That's all I ask. That's all I can do. Then the rest is on the Most High. That's my job as a father.
Now, some people may think It's expensive to fix myself. What y'all think it's expensive to get over trauma to move forward?
I can't.
I don't think
I
we never
can't
get.
fix me. I can't fix me
Yeah,
because
that's what
I'm.
I said. I don't think we ever can fix each other. I know we can't fix each other. Hurt, like you say, hurt people hurt people. How you going? I just don't think we can fix. I think it's an ongoing process. It take again a community. Like something I do. Vince would come tell me, and I got to humble myself to receive. He like, you know what? Like my sister-in-law told me one time I was going off, and she came to me. She said, "Keith, you shouldn't have said that like that." I said, "What you mean?" You know, that one right there, it shouldn't have been said like that. That's gonna cause something right there. That's something you have to deal with, and you need to deal with it now. You know what I'm saying? I had to hold myself to go fix that then. Oh, you're right. Let me go. And like I said, just because you're not here at the moment, somebody can't tell you. So I can't, I know I can't fix me. So I just humble myself daily with the most high and people. And I truly believe most high put like Vince, you sure now you done told me things like, hey, you know, nephew, I don't think you need to do that. You know what I'm saying? You ever thought about this? And I ain't think about that, All right, let me go ahead and do that and add that to it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm continually going because in my head, my world is always right. The heart one was wrong. My mind, I ain't do nothing wrong. But tell somebody say, yeah, you know, that could have been done different. So no, I can't fix me.
What say you, Vincent?
No, I just saying I can't fix me because that's what got me here. That's what got me in some of those situations. But what I can do is start taking the actions. What I've had to be intentional about is I had to surround myself around people that kind of was opposite in some ways to where I could learn some of their ways and some of their habits so that I can get better at certain things. Because if I'm not exposed to certain things, then how am I ever to learn it? Right. So I have to get uncomfortable at time and I have to put myself around jolly happy all the time people and take some of those characteristics, right? Because I'm stealing, right? I'm stealing some of their ways, some of their habits, some of their ways, some of their habits, and I'm surrounding myself at a buffet of people, right? Because if I continue to isolate myself, then the problem's never going to get fixed.
Woo! My friends, folks, did y'all enjoy this show tonight? Y'all enjoy this show tonight. Friends, look, if you all didn't get something out of this discussion tonight, we got a blog. It's simply a must read. It's packed with information on there, packed with uh, questions and answers and things you can do to take action. And what we did tonight, we demonstrated live here, live and right in front of you. We went through process and cycles of, of revisiting some wounds and going through the wounds and recognizing if that's a wound. We recognize wounds live on the air before you. And once we recognize that's a wound, guess what else we did? We took action. You see, we always talk about taking action. We always talk about being intentional. Things that we talk about, guess what, friends? We apply. Application. And the three of us, we're big on application. We're big on being consistent. And I'm just so thankful that I have two brothers, the three of us together, we're all on the same page. How we get there may be different, but where we are headed, it's like in football. There's a goal post. We're heading for the end zone. And sometimes we have to draw up several different plays, but the goal is to get in the end zone. Am I right about that, my brother?
That's it.
Hey, we gonna get out of here, man. Won't you guys give us some last words, man, before we close it down? Because I've enjoyed this evening. Enjoyed it.
I'll let Keith go ahead and start it.
Well, I'm I, I wanted to say this, man, and I just think that alpha male, I don't want to say alpha, but the old ways of the men, I think we get a bad rep. I say because we don't do things perfect, but we willing to die for our family, and we're not gonna do it perfect. We're not gonna do it the scientific way, the book way, everything to not saying the right way. You just you trying to get your kid to be surviving to thriving. You know what I'm saying? But it's a foundation that's got to be built. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect, but just being there, father that's the president, him being there. You know what I'm saying? And working together. It's hard for mother and it's hard for the father. But I'm just saying I think my opinion, we get a bad rap because the father don't get, like I said, they say these jokes about the father get the tie. The father don't get what everybody else get. And that's cool. I tell my kids that I don't need it. You know what I'm saying? I say I don't need it. I don't want it, but I want the respect what's due to me. You know what I'm saying? I take on this fatherhood and I know what it takes to be a father. You know what I'm saying? I know the grind, and I'm trying to teach my boys to be that. Because, like I said, and the father don't get to apologize. He don't get to apologize. Not you don't get to say, well, I messed up. You don't get to say that. The part we solve problems. You know what I'm saying? We try to figure out, and then we got to learn how to be a husband. We got to. It's so many roles that a father had to play, man. And I say, and I don't, and like I said, things happened that we missed out on. The other father that missed before us didn't give us, or before that didn't give us, and you had to go learn on the go. You know what I'm saying? But just staying in and putting that work in, I honor all the fathers that did that and take care of their kids. I honor that. I honor that.
That's good stuff. No, I'm just thankful to just continue to be able to work on my triggers, and I think the thing that I have to continue is those that's closest to me. Be transparent with them. Let them be able to give them permission to hold me accountable. It's not what you say; it's how you say it, right? Once your approach is right, what you can be anybody. As long as you're coming to me the right way, I'll listen. But if your approach is wrong, then we're gonna have an issue. We're gonna have a problem, right? So for me, it's just continue to deal with the triggers and the trauma. And for those of you that are married and have partners, have that conversation and let them know early and often what those triggers and what that trauma is, because it's only going to help them in the relationship. They can't address what you haven't shared with them.
That's so well said.
Yeah, well said.
Friends, we want to thank all of you all for tuning in tonight. This really was a hot topic, just like we all knew it would be. And question for you all out there in the community: what wounds in your life needs healing? Second question, more importantly than knowing the wounds, what are you doing about it? Huh? What are you doing about it? Are you ignoring it and hoping they go away? I think you all heard from the three of us. We think you ought to take action. We think you ought to be intentional, because we believe you deserve better. Friends, let me tell you, I know there's so much more. Knowing my nephew like I do, is so much more Fletcher got in his spirit. He wants to. I know it. I feel you, brother. I feel you. I feel you. It ain't like we don't know each other. But look, hold up, man. Don't make me laugh, bro. Hey, friends. Look, this is Vincent. Man, I appreciate the professionalship you bring to this platform, and the sincerity, brother, and the calmness and the realness that you bring. I mean that sincerely, because see what you brought tonight, even though Fletcher kept pushing you, and personally, to be forthcoming. I thought when he was pushing you that it was out of line live, personally. But here's the sweet thing about it. on the flip side, I know Fletcher. His it's good. See, Fletcher don't do things to be malice.
Nope.
He never been that person. He never been malice. He's sort of like one of my brothers. I mean, they hard, but man, but they going somewhere with that hardness. They going somewhere with it. And look in the end, what if I had smothered, we would have never got to the other side. And it's more important to get to the other side. Everything is not always a cake. Sometimes things are turnip greens and mustard greens. But I think that's more healthy for us than a cake. I don't know. Hey, I said last word. I don't want. Hey, I need to hear from y'all before we sail out of here.
No, it's all good. Like I told y'all before, there are some things that me and Keith that we're not going to agree on, or I take it a step further. One of my counselors told me when me and my first wife were going to counseling, she said Vincent has a compulsivity disorder. She's like, he means well, but he don't always know how to articulate it the right way. So I thought about, and again, there's a method to the madness, right? Whenever, Keith asks his questions and things of that nature, right? So you have to be around the individual to understand it. Me and him poke the bear a lot, right? He'll poke me, I'll poke him, pause. But that's just how it goes, right? So, but there's a mutual respect and love for each other. So it's like, I don't take it personal. It just, I'm able to address. And as you said, we caught it on live, right? Like we addressed what.
And the thing is, the goal is going to help somebody.
Yeah.
That's what it is right there. I'm cutting you off.
Right.
It's going to help somebody. Somebody needed that. You see what I'm saying? Somebody needed to hear that.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm going to say this. The reason I took Vince there, that was me. I went where he at right now. I went through that already. I went through where we were just right now. I went through that personally. Exactly what he was feeling. Exactly what his hand. I knew where he was gonna go. I know Vince. I knew he ready to stand his ground with it. And I'm ready, but I knew eventually he gonna see what I was saying. He know I wasn't here to hurt him. You know what I'm saying? But that moment, like I said, the point he was saying, Dad, I wasn't just saying that. It's other men. That's the point I wanted to see. It was other opportunity that came. So we cracked the egg, we cracked it open, and it showed things. So somebody sitting there saying, well, I ain't got my dad, but you got an uncle. You got a grandfather. You got, you know what I'm saying? You got
that's other men. Yeah. Hey, folks, thank y'all for tuning in to World Premiere Word on the Streets. Make sure y'all come back, be with us next Thursday. And make sure you subscribe, hit like, share, leave a comment. We appreciate y'all tuning in. See y'all again next week.
And that wraps up another powerful episode of World Premiere Word on the Streets. We're live every Thursday evening at 7:30 Central Standard Time, and we'd love to have you join us again. So take a moment to subscribe, tap that like button, and become part of this growing community. Until next time, guard your thoughts, speak only what you truly want to experience, and stay laser focused on what matters. Your words shape your world, and your mindset fuels your mission. We'll see you again. Same time, same place. Right here on World Premiere Word on the Streets, where truth meets transformation. Stay strong, stay grounded, and as always, stay true.